Welcome to DreamSleep Studios, a place where stories, science, and imagination gently guide you into rest. Tonight, you don't need to focus. You don't need to remember. Just listen. Let your thoughts slow down as we explore calming facts, cinematic worlds, and peaceful ideas designed to help you relax and fall asleep. This is your dream sleep. Close your eyes and let the journey begin. Fact 1. The human mind naturally slows its activity when it senses safety. When your surroundings feel quiet and predictable, the brain reduces alertness without effort. This is why calm voices, steady pacing, and familiar rhythms help you relax so deeply. Fact 2. Your brain does not fully turn off during sleep. Instead, it shifts into quieter patterns like a city at night. Lights dimmed, traffic slowed, but life still gently moving beneath the surface. Fact 3. Thoughts become more abstract as you relax. As the mind unwinds, it lets go of sharp logic and drifts into softer associations, where images, memories, and feelings blend without structure. Fact 4. The mind enjoys repetition when it is tired. Hearing familiar patterns, steady phrasing, or predictable sequences signals that nothing new needs attention, allowing awareness to gently fade. Fact 5. Your sense of time changes as mental activity slows. Minutes feel longer or disappear entirely. This is a natural sign that the brain is loosening its grip on external focus. Fact 6. The brain processes emotions more gently at night. As stimulation decreases, emotional edges soften, and experiences are stored with less intensity, creating a sense of emotional quiet. Fact 7. Even passive listening helps the mind rest. Simply allowing sounds to exist in the background gives the brain permission to stop analyzing and begin drifting naturally. Fact 8. When relaxed, the mind prefers imagery over words. It starts thinking in shapes, movements, and vague impressions rather than sentences. One reason stories feel dreamlike as sleep approaches. Fact 9. Your breathing and thinking are closely connected. As breaths slow and deepen, thought speed follows, gently synchronizing body and mind into a calmer rhythm. Fact 10. Sleep is not a shutdown. It is a transition, a soft crossing from focused awareness into a quieter inner world, where the mind continues its work peacefully, without effort or urgency. Imagine the mind as a wide, open landscape at dusk. Not a place with sharp edges or clear paths, but one where boundaries soften as the light fades. Thoughts move slowly here. They do not rush or collide. They drift like clouds passing through a still sky, never needing to arrive anywhere in particular. At first, the mind observes its surroundings. The distant echoes of the day remain. Unfinished tasks, fragments of conversation, small impressions lingering like footprints in sand. But gradually, those impressions begin to blur. The edges of memory lose their definition. What once felt solid becomes lighter, less important, easier to let go. Awareness starts to turn inward, not sharply, not deliberately, but naturally, as if guided by gravity rather than choice. In this inner space, there is no narration, no internal voice demanding attention, only sensation, a gentle sense of presence, and the slow rhythm of breathing moving like a tide. The mind does not resist this descent. It recognizes the pattern. It has traveled this path countless times before. With each passing moment, effort dissolves. The need to understand fades. Control becomes unnecessary. Here, the mind remembers something ancient. That rest is not earned. It is allowed. And as the inner landscape grows quieter, the mind prepares itself for a deeper level of stillness, where learning becomes effortless and thoughts drift freely without form. The journey continues, softly, patiently, exactly at the pace it needs to. Fact 11. The mind is constantly predicting the future. When stimulation decreases, those predictions slow down, allowing awareness to settle into the present moment without tension. Fact 12. Mental fatigue is not a failure. It is a signal that the brain is ready to reorganize information more efficiently, often during sleep. Fact 13. As the mind relaxes, it releases its need for precision. Details soften, and broader patterns become more noticeable, creating a sense of calm clarity. Fact 14. The brain stores memories differently when you are calm. Information absorbed in a relaxed state tends to feel lighter and less emotionally charged later on. Fact 15. Your mind is more creative when it is quiet. In silence, new connections form gently, without conscious effort. Fact 16. The sensation of drifting is a real neurological transition. It marks the point where the brain begins moving from active thinking to restorative processing. Fact 17. Even when you feel still, your mind remains subtly active. It organizes experiences the way a librarian quietly reshelves books after closing time. Fact 18. Sleepiness often begins with sensory narrowing. Sounds become softer, visuals blur, and attention turns inward naturally. Fact 19. The mind does not distinguish sharply between imagination and memory during rest. This blending creates the dreamlike quality of pre-sleep thoughts. Fact 20. Your inner sense of self becomes quieter as sleep approaches. The brain reduces self-referential thinking, allowing a peaceful sense of being without identity. Fact 21. Gentle learning before sleep can enhance long-term memory. When information is presented calmly, the brain integrates it smoothly overnight. Fact 22. The mind prefers slow transitions. Abrupt changes keep it alert, while gradual shifts invite relaxation. Fact 23. Sleep helps regulate emotional balance. During rest, the brain revisits feelings with less intensity, smoothing emotional edges. Fact 24. Your brain filters less during tiredness. This openness allows unusual ideas and insights to emerge naturally. Fact 25. The sensation of heaviness in the body is linked to mental slowing. As thought speed decreases, muscles release tension without conscious effort. Fact 26. Nighttime awareness is more intuitive than logical. The brain shifts from analysis to gentle observation. Fact 27. Your mind is capable of resting even while listening. Calm auditory input reassures the brain that it is safe to let go. Fact 28. The feeling of almost asleep is a stable state. The brain can remain there comfortably for extended periods. Fact 29. Sleep reduces mental noise. Random thoughts lose their urgency and drift apart naturally. Fact 30. The mind organizes information spatially during rest. Memories are grouped by feeling and meaning, not sequence. Fact 31. Slow narratives reduce cognitive effort. The brain follows rhythm rather than content. Fact 32. Your awareness does not disappear in sleep. It simply changes form, becoming softer and less defined. Fact 33. Calm repetition helps the brain disengage from vigilance. Predictability equals safety at a neurological level. Fact 34. The mind repairs itself during rest. Neural pathways strengthen quietly, without conscious input. Fact 35. Sleep allows the brain to release unneeded information. What remains is lighter, more essential, and easier to carry. Fact 36. Mental rest improves emotional resilience. After sleep, challenges feel smaller and more manageable. Fact 37. The mind responds more to tone than meaning when tired. Gentle delivery matters more than words themselves. Fact 38. Nighttime thoughts often feel symbolic. The brain communicates through metaphor rather than logic. Fact 39. Even brief moments of rest have measurable effects on mental clarity. The brain benefits from every pause. Fact 40. Sleep is a form of silent learning. The mind continues to grow, even in stillness. A gentle settling, a quiet understanding. As the mind continues its descent, the landscape changes once again. There is no moment where one state clearly ends, and another begins. Instead, awareness thins, like mist slowly dissolving into the night air. The inner world feels wider now, yet less defined. Thoughts no longer form complete shapes. They appear briefly, then fade before needing meaning. In this space, the mind stops asking questions. Not because answers were found, but because questions are no longer necessary. Everything feels slower and softer, as if wrapped in a calm, invisible warmth. Memories pass through gently, not demanding attention, not pulling emotion, just existing, then drifting onward. The mind recognizes this moment. It knows it well. This is the point where effort fully releases, where control quietly steps aside, where awareness becomes more like listening than thinking. Here, there is a subtle sense of trust. Trust that the body knows how to rest. Trust that the mind knows how to heal. Trust that nothing important will be missed. The rhythm of breathing becomes the only anchor. Steady, unremarkable, perfectly sufficient. Time loses its structure. Moments blend together without edges. Past and future dissolve, leaving only a gentle now. And within this calm suspension, the mind completes its journey, not with a sudden drop into sleep, but with a smooth, natural settling, like snow resting on a quiet field, layer by layer, soundless and complete. There is no climax to announce, no resolution to observe, only rest, deep and unearned. The long night continues peacefully, and the final stretch of gentle facts waits patiently ahead. Fact 41. The mind relaxes faster when it knows nothing is expected of it. Without goals or pressure, awareness naturally softens. Rest arrives quietly, without needing permission. Fact 42. Sleepiness builds gradually throughout the day. It gathers softly, like evening light fading across a landscape. By night, the mind is ready to let go. Fact 43. Your brain prefers familiarity when it is tired. Predictable patterns reduce the need for alertness. This is why repetition feels soothing before sleep. Fact 44. Mental stillness is not forced. It is allowed. When effort stops, quiet appears on its own. The mind knows how to rest without instruction. Fact 45. The nervous system responds to calm the way skin responds to warmth. Slow input signals safety. Tension releases naturally. Fact 46. As sleep approaches, thoughts feel less personal. They pass through awareness without attachment. This creates emotional distance and ease. Fact 47. Listening without focus can be deeply restful. The brain relaxes when it no longer needs to interpret. Sound becomes background comfort. Fact 48. The brain associates slow speech with safety. Gentle pacing reduces mental alertness. Understanding becomes optional. Fact 49. Soft attention can be more restorative than distraction. The mind settles when nothing pulls it sharply. Stillness grows between thoughts. Fact 50. Many people experience a sensation of lightness before sleep. This reflects the mind releasing control of the body. Awareness drifts inward. Fact 51. Silence is not required for rest. The mind only needs consistency. Steady sound provides reassurance. Fact 52. During sleep, emotions are revisited gently. Their intensity fades while meaning remains. Balance is restored quietly. Fact 53. The brain simplifies experiences overnight. Complex days become clear impressions. This process feels like calm from within. Fact 54. Mental clarity often returns after rest without effort. Problems resolve themselves quietly. The mind reorganizes naturally. Fact 55. The mind releases before the body fully rests. Thoughts slow first. Physical relaxation follows. Fact 56. Resting awareness can feel wide and open. There is space between sensations. Nothing needs to be held. Fact 57. The brain naturally synchronizes with slow rhythms. Steady pacing guides relaxation. Irregular patterns fade away. Fact 58. Nighttime thoughts are intentionally nonlinear. The brain moves away from logic. Intuition becomes dominant. Fact 59. Letting go is a neurological process. It happens automatically when safety is present. No effort is required. Fact 60. Sleep enhances the brain's ability to recognize patterns. Learning continues beneath awareness. Growth happens in stillness. The flow continues. Slow, even, and gentle. A quiet continuation, steady and unhurried. Fact 61. The mind becomes more receptive when it feels unobserved. Without pressure, awareness softens naturally. Rest feels safe and unforced. Fact 62. Calm narration reduces mental resistance. The brain stops filtering and correcting. Listening becomes effortless. Fact 63. Before sleep, the brain lowers the volume of the senses. Sounds soften. Attention turns inward. Fact 64. Repetition creates comfort for the mind. Familiar patterns signal stability. Alertness fades away. Fact 65. Judgment quiets as mental activity slows. Thoughts pass without evaluation. Only gentle awareness remains. Fact 66. Slow breathing reassures the nervous system. The brain recognizes this rhythm as safety. Relaxation follows naturally. Fact 67. Sleep supports emotional neutrality. Feelings become balanced rather than intense. The mind finds equilibrium. Fact 68. Awareness narrows gently as rest deepens. There is no sudden shift, only a smooth transition. Fact 69. Mental imagery becomes fluid at night. Pictures drift without edges. This softness prepares the mind for dreams. Fact 70. Monotony can be deeply calming for the brain. Predictability removes the need for vigilance. Rest becomes easier. Fact 71. The mind prefers steady presence over stimulation. Nothing needs to compete for attention. Awareness settles quietly. Fact 72. As sleep deepens, labeling fades. Experiences are felt without words. This creates peaceful simplicity. Fact 73. Mental rest is gentle organization. Thoughts are placed softly where they belong. Stillness follows. Fact 74. The brain responds strongly to kindness in tone. Warm delivery lowers internal defenses. Meaning becomes secondary. Fact 75. Sleep loosens rigid thinking. Ideas become flexible and open. This mental softness heals. Fact 76. A sense of safety invites deep rest. Consistency reassures the nervous system. Alertness releases. Fact 77. At night, urgency dissolves. The mind no longer needs to solve. Drifting is enough. Fact 78. Predictable structure comforts the brain. Knowing what comes next allows surrender. Awareness sinks deeper. Fact 79. Visual thoughts lose sharpness before sleep. Images blur into impressions. Dreaming approaches. Fact 80. Sound becomes texture during rest. Words matter less than rhythm. Listening soothes the mind. The night continues, slowly unfolding. A final, steady stretch designed for drifting, rest, and quiet listening. Fact 81. Sleep revisits emotions with gentleness. Intensity softens while understanding remains. This quiet balance supports emotional ease. Fact 82. The brain slows internal dialogue as rest deepens. Spaces appear between thoughts. Silence grows naturally. Fact 83. The mind welcomes rest when effort stops. Trying to sleep often delays it. Letting go is enough. Fact 84. Nighttime awareness feels wide and open. Thoughts float within a spacious inner field. Nothing needs control. Fact 85. Rhythm guides the mind into sleep. Steady pacing reassures the nervous system. Irregularity fades away. Fact 86. Self-judgment dissolves as the mind rests. Inner commentary softens. Presence remains. Fact 87. Sleep supports learning beneath awareness. Information settles into memory quietly. Growth continues unseen. Fact 88. The brain releases unnecessary detail at night. Mental weight lightens. Simplicity feels calming. Fact 89. Slower thinking is a form of care. Clarity is preserved, not lost. The mind protects itself through rest. Fact 90. Sleep preparation begins before awareness notices. Subtle signals guide the transition. Everything aligns gently. Fact 91. The mind prefers softness over precision at night. Exactness gives way to impression. Rest deepens. Fact 92. Gentle attention soothes the brain more than force. Allowing is more effective than directing. Sleep responds to kindness. Fact 93. The body follows the mind into rest. Muscles release after thoughts slow. Relaxation spreads evenly. Fact 94. Nighttime thinking becomes symbolic. Meaning replaces logic. Dreaming draws closer. Fact 95. The brain conserves energy through stillness. Nothing is wasted. Everything is restored. Fact 96. Sleep creates emotional distance from the day. Events feel less immediate. Perspective returns. Fact 97. Awareness narrows without resistance. Focus fades gently. Rest arrives naturally. Fact 98. The mind trusts familiar rhythm. Consistency feels safe. Surrender follows. Fact 99. Sleep is not disappearance. It is a change in awareness. Presence remains softer. Fact 100. The mind knows exactly how to rest. Nothing needs to be taught. Stillness completes itself. The long journey now slows and begins to close. A cinematic reflection designed for drifting, rest, and quiet awareness. The mind does not live in straight lines. It moves more like water, following gentle contours, slowing when it feels safe, flowing when it is allowed. At night, especially, the mind returns to its natural rhythm, unhurried, observant, and calm. Imagine the mind as a vast inner landscape just after sunset. The sharp light of day has faded, and with it the need to define everything clearly. Shapes remain, but they soften. Distances feel longer, yet less important. Nothing calls for immediate action. In this landscape, thoughts are no longer tools. They are visitors. They appear quietly, linger for a moment, and move on without needing response. There is no need to follow them, just as there is no need to follow clouds as they pass across a darkening sky. The mind remembers that it was never meant to stay alert forever. Alertness is useful, but rest is essential. And so, slowly, the systems responsible for effort begin to loosen their grip. Memories drift forward, not demanding attention, not replaying themselves sharply, but existing as gentle impressions. Moments from the day lose their urgency. Even emotions, once strong, seem distant, as though viewed from far away across a quiet field. The mind begins to trust the night. This trust is subtle. It does not announce itself. It simply shows up as a willingness to stop checking, stop scanning, stop preparing. The inner world becomes quieter not because silence is forced, but because noise is no longer needed. As the mind settles deeper, it stops asking questions like what comes next or what should I do. Instead, it rests in a simple awareness of being. Breath moving in, breath moving out, a steady rhythm that requires no supervision. Here, the mind performs its most important work. It sorts experiences gently, placing them where they belong. Not by importance, but by meaning. What matters stays. What does not fades naturally without loss. Connections are strengthened. Emotional edges are softened. Perspective is quietly restored. This process does not feel busy from the inside. It feels like stillness, like floating, like being held without effort. The mind also begins to dream, not yet in images, but in tone. A sense of openness, a feeling of safety, a subtle warmth that spreads without source. There is no boundary here between waking and sleeping, only a gradual blending. Awareness thins, but does not disappear. It simply changes shape. If thoughts return during this time, they are slower, less defined. They carry less meaning and even less urgency. They are easy to release because they do not cling. The mind recognizes this state as familiar. It has returned here thousands of times before. Every night, in its own way, it practices letting go. And it knows something important. That nothing is lost in rest. Nothing valuable slips away. In fact, rest is where clarity is preserved. As the story of the mind continues through the night, there is no final scene to reach, no conclusion to arrive at, only a gentle continuation into deeper quiet. You do not need to stay awake for this. You do not need to follow every word. The mind understands the rhythm on its own, and so the story does not end. It simply becomes quieter, slower, and softer, until listening turns into resting, and resting turns into sleep. The story continues, the mind at rest. As the night deepens, the mind moves even further away from structure. Not abruptly, not suddenly, but in the same way darkness slowly fills a room after the lights are turned low. There is a moment when the mind stops trying to understand itself. It no longer observes its own thoughts. It simply exists beneath them. This is where effort dissolves completely. The mind becomes like a wide lake at night. The surface is still, reflecting nothing clearly. Yet beneath it, quiet movement continues. Slow currents, gentle shifts, unseen balance. Here, memories are no longer stories. They are sensations, a faint warmth, a sense of familiarity without detail. Even identity softens. The labels you carry during the day, your roles, your responsibilities, your name, all drift to the edges of awareness, becoming distant and unnecessary. What remains is presence. Not focused presence, not alert presence, just a soft awareness that does not ask questions. Breathing becomes the only noticeable motion. In and out, without effort, without rhythm to follow. The mind no longer tracks time. Minutes lose meaning. Sequences dissolve. This is not confusion. This is freedom from structure. In this state, the mind feels held, supported by the body, supported by the night itself. There is nothing fragile here, nothing that can be broken by drifting thoughts or half-formed images. Everything is stable because nothing is being controlled. Sometimes faint images appear, not dreams yet, more like shadows passing behind closed eyes. They do not need interpretation. They do not carry messages. They are simply signs that the mind is transitioning smoothly. The brain lowers its guard further now. It stops checking the environment, stops monitoring outcomes. Trust deepens. The mind understands that this is a safe descent, that sleep is not disappearance, but a gentle shift into a different kind of awareness. And as this shift continues, the inner world grows quieter, not empty but calm, not silent but soft. Words lose their shape, sentences blur, meaning loosens. If you are still listening, the sound of this voice may now feel distant, as though it exists somewhere outside the body. That is exactly where rest begins. The mind is no longer following. It is floating, and soon, even floating becomes unnecessary. There is no edge to cross, no moment to mark, just a gradual settling into deep, effortless rest, where the story continues without language, and the mind finally sleeps. The night holds the mind gently now. There is no sense of direction, no need to move forward or backward. Everything simply rests where it is. Thought no longer arrives as language. It comes as feeling, as tone, as a soft sense of presence without edges. The mind is no longer watching itself. It has stepped out of the role of observer and into the experience of being. This is where effort fully disappears. Breath flows on its own, smooth and unremarkable, like waves reaching the shore without sound. There is nothing to adjust, nothing to correct. The mind begins to trust the quiet completely. In this state, awareness feels wide, but unfocused, like standing in an open field at night, where you sense space rather than objects. Memories are no longer personal. They drift as impressions, detached from emotion, free from urgency. Even the sense of now softens. Moments overlap. Time loses its shape. This is not something the mind tries to achieve. It is something that happens when the mind is no longer holding on. The nervous system settles deeper. Signals slow. Internal noise fades into a distant hum, barely noticeable. Here, the mind begins its deepest work. It repairs without instruction. It integrates without effort. It restores balance without awareness. Nothing needs supervision. If images appear, they are gentle, unfinished. They dissolve before becoming clear. Dreaming approaches quietly, not as a scene, but as a change in texture, from listening to drifting to forgetting the difference. The mind feels safe enough to let go of clarity, safe enough to stop making sense of things. And in this letting go, there is no loss, only relief. The story no longer unfolds in words. It continues in stillness, in softness, in the deep, quiet rhythm of rest. If sleep has already taken you, these words pass by unnoticed, doing nothing, asking nothing. And if awareness lingers, it lingers peacefully, without tension, without purpose. There is nothing left to do tonight. The mind has returned to where it began, a place of quiet balance, gentle repair, and effortless calm. The night carries everything forward now, slowly, softly, completely at ease. The mind is very quiet now, not empty, just unburdened. There is no longer a sense of listening to something. Sound, thought, and awareness blend together, becoming part of the same soft background. The mind has stopped organizing the world. It no longer separates inside from outside, or sound from silence. Everything exists in the same gentle field. This is the state the mind returns to when it no longer needs to protect, plan, or prepare. Breathing continues, slow and even, like a steady signal that everything is safe. The body feels heavier, but not tense. It is the comfortable weight of letting go, of allowing gravity to do the work. The mind does not question this feeling. It recognizes it as familiar. This is how rest has always begun. There is a subtle sense of drifting downward, not through space, but through layers of attention, each layer quieter than the last. Thoughts no longer finish themselves. They begin, then dissolve. No frustration follows. Nothing is missing. The mind understands that it does not need to stay alert, to remain whole. Here, awareness feels safe enough to loosen its boundaries. The edges of experience soften. Everything becomes rounder, smoother, quieter. There is no desire to move, no desire to stop moving. Only a gentle neutrality that feels deeply comforting. The mind is no longer processing the day. That work has already been set aside. Now it is simply resting in itself. This is the kind of rest that does not feel dramatic. It feels ordinary, natural, like returning home after being away too long. If images appear, they are vague, color without shape, motion without direction. They do not ask to be followed. The mind is drifting between awareness and sleep now, in a place where both can exist without conflict. Here, nothing needs to be remembered. Nothing needs to be achieved. Nothing needs to be understood. Even the idea of sleep fades. There is only rest, quiet, and a sense of being gently held by the night. The story continues without words, without narration, without effort, and the mind, finally free from its daytime shape, settles into the deep, quiet rhythm it was always meant to return to. Slowly, softly, the night carries everything onward. The mind has a way of unfolding when it is no longer interrupted. When words arrive slowly, continuously, without sharp edges or demands, the mind stops trying to track them and instead allows them to pass through. This is the state where true rest begins, where listening becomes background and background becomes calm. In this long, uninterrupted space, the mind no longer separates learning from relaxation. Calm psychology becomes something felt rather than understood. The brain is no longer collecting information, it is absorbing atmosphere. This is why slow, continuous storytelling works so well for sleep, deep focus, and nighttime listening. It creates a sense of safety through consistency, and safety is the doorway to rest. The human mind evolved to relax when patterns remain stable, when nothing sudden happens, when the environment feels predictable and gentle. This is why a continuous flow of calm narration reduces alertness naturally. The nervous system recognizes that nothing requires action. No decisions, no reactions, no preparation. As this recognition settles in, the mind gradually stops scanning for meaning. Words lose their individual importance. They blend into a steady stream, like rain against a window late at night. You are aware that it is there, but you do not need to focus on it. And because you do not need to focus, your mind is finally free to rest. This is the hidden mechanism behind deep sleep content, calming documentaries, and long-form nighttime psychology. It is not about facts alone. It is about rhythm, continuity, gentle reassurance repeated in different forms until the brain fully trusts the moment. The mind, when trusted, releases control. Thoughts begin to slow without being forced. The internal voice that narrates the day softens. Planning dissolves. Reviewing fades. Even curiosity becomes gentle rather than active. The mind shifts from doing to being. In this state, awareness becomes wide and unfocused. You are no longer holding on to specific ideas. You are simply present in a soft, internal space. This is why time feels different at night. Minutes stretch, overlap, or disappear entirely. The brain is no longer measuring progression. It is resting in continuity. Psychologically, this is a transition from active cognition to restorative processing. The mind begins to organize experiences silently. Emotional intensity is reduced. Memories are softened. What matters is kept. What does not is released. This happens automatically, without conscious involvement. And because this process feels like stillness from the inside, many people believe nothing is happening. In reality, this is when the mind is doing some of its most important work. Long-form calming content supports this process by staying present without demanding attention. It does not change pace abruptly. It does not introduce tension. It does not require reaction. Instead, it becomes part of the environment like darkness or silence or the steady rhythm of breath. As the mind remains in this state, identity itself softens. You are no longer defined by roles, responsibilities, or names. The sense of self becomes lighter, less detailed. This is not loss. It is relief. The mind temporarily sets down what it carries all day. The body follows the mind into rest. Muscles release gradually. Breathing deepens without instruction. The nervous system shifts from readiness to repair. This is why rest feels physical even when it begins mentally. At this point, the boundary between listening and sleeping becomes thin. Some moments you may be aware of the words. Other moments they vanish entirely. This drifting is not a problem. It is a sign that the mind is transitioning smoothly. Sleep does not arrive like a switch turning off. It arrives like fog rolling in, slowly, quietly, without announcement. And even if sleep does not fully arrive yet, the mind is already benefiting. Calm listening reduces mental load. Continuous storytelling reduces cognitive friction. Gentle psychology reframes rest as something allowed rather than achieved. This is why content like this is effective for sleep, relaxation, anxiety reduction, deep focus, and nighttime learning. It works with the brain, not against it. It respects the mind's natural rhythm instead of trying to override it. As this uninterrupted flow continues, awareness may feel distant. Sounds may seem farther away. The sense of the body may blur. These are not signs of losing control. They are signs of safety. Nothing needs to be done now. The mind has entered a state where effort is unnecessary, where understanding is optional, where rest is already happening. If sleep comes, it will come gently. If wakefulness remains, it will remain calm. Either way, the mind is no longer tense. This is the purpose of long, continuous, calming psychology storytelling. Not to entertain, not to stimulate, but to accompany the mind as it returns to its natural resting state. The night continues. The story continues. And the mind rests quietly, steadily, exactly as it knows how to do. The mind becomes most honest with itself in moments of deep calm. When there is no audience, no urgency, and no expectation to perform, the mind stops shaping itself to fit the world. It returns to its original function, sensing, integrating, and restoring balance. This is why nighttime awareness feels different from daytime thinking. During the day, the mind is outward-facing. At night, it turns inward, not to analyze, but to settle. Psychologically, this inward turn is essential. The brain cannot remain externally focused forever. It needs periods where attention is diffuse, unfocused, and gentle. In these moments, the mind stops ranking thoughts as important or unimportant. Everything is treated with equal softness. This equality is calming. Nothing stands out sharply enough to demand reaction. This is also why ideas that felt heavy during the day often lose their weight at night. Without constant evaluation, thoughts no longer press against the mind. They float. They pass. They dissolve on their own. The brain learns through repetition that not every thought requires engagement. This lesson, repeated night after night, is one of the foundations of emotional resilience. As this state deepens, the mind becomes less verbal. Language is a daytime tool. At night, the brain communicates through tone, sensation, and impression. This is why calm voices and continuous narration feel soothing even when the words themselves are no longer clearly processed. Meaning becomes secondary. Presence becomes primary. In this way, long-form calming content mirrors the mind's natural nighttime language. It does not ask the brain to stay sharp. It invites it to soften. And in that softness, rest becomes inevitable. There is a quiet intelligence in how the mind prepares for sleep. Long before you consciously decide to rest, subtle systems begin to slow. Attention narrows. Sensory input is filtered. Emotional reactivity decreases. This process is automatic, ancient, and deeply ingrained. The mind has been practicing it for as long as humans have slept. What often disrupts this process is not wakefulness itself, but interference. Sudden changes, bright stimulation, emotional spikes. When these are absent, the mind completes its transition effortlessly. This is why predictability is so powerful at night. A steady voice, a continuous story, a familiar rhythm. These elements remove uncertainty, and uncertainty is what keeps the brain alert. From a psychological perspective, sleep is not the absence of awareness, but a redistribution of it. Awareness moves away from the external world and into internal maintenance. Memory consolidation, emotional regulation, neural repair. All of this occurs quietly, without conscious supervision. When listening to long, uninterrupted storytelling, the brain treats the sound as part of the environment rather than information to be processed. This allows awareness to drift without disengaging entirely. It is a perfect bridge between waking and sleeping. The mind does not have to choose. It can hover comfortably in between. This hovering state is deeply restorative. It reduces anxiety. It lowers stress hormones. It allows the nervous system to reset. Even if sleep does not arrive immediately, the mind is already benefiting from the calm. In this way, rest begins long before sleep does. And often, by the time you notice rest has arrived, sleep is already close behind. The most peaceful moments of the mind are often the least noticeable. They are not dramatic. They do not announce themselves. They arrive quietly, like a deep breath you did not realize you were holding. This subtlety is part of their power. The mind does not need intensity to change. It needs consistency. Night after night, gentle experiences teach the brain that rest is safe, that stillness is not dangerous, that silence does not need to be filled. Over time, this learning reshapes how the mind responds to quiet. What once felt uncomfortable becomes comforting. What once felt empty becomes spacious. This is why long-form calming psychology content has lasting effects. It does not just help for one night. It trains the mind to associate slowness with safety, continuity with reassurance, presence with ease. As the night continues, the mind no longer distinguishes between listening and resting. The two become the same experience. Awareness drifts, returns briefly, drifts again. There is no frustration in this movement, only acceptance. And eventually, even acceptance fades. There is nothing left to hold, nothing left to follow. The mind settles into its natural rhythm, guided not by effort, but by trust. The story does not need to end. It only needs to continue softly enough that the mind no longer notices it. And in that quiet continuation, rest deepens, thought dissolves, and sleep arrives naturally, without being asked. The mind continues to rest more deeply when it senses that nothing new is required of it. No shift in tone, no sudden change in direction, only the same calm presence unfolding slowly, like a familiar path walked many times before. In this steady continuity, the brain stops checking for endings. It no longer asks how long this will last or what comes next. That question belongs to daytime thinking. At night, the mind prefers continuity over conclusion. This is why long, uninterrupted storytelling has such a powerful effect on sleep and relaxation. It removes the mental habit of anticipation. When nothing signals an ending, the brain releases its grip on time. Awareness stretches out, becoming less precise and more fluid. As this happens, thoughts no longer arrive in complete forms. They appear as fragments, a feeling without a name, a memory without a beginning, a sensation without a cause. The mind does not try to complete them. It lets them remain unfinished. This unfinished quality is deeply calming. Psychologically, this is the mind shifting from narrative mode to resting mode. Narrative mode organizes experience into stories, causes, and outcomes. Resting mode allows experience to exist without structure. Nothing needs to make sense here. In this space, even attention becomes optional. You may notice moments where you are listening, and moments where you are not. There is no difference between the two from the mind's perspective. Both are forms of rest. The nervous system responds by slowing its signals. Heart rate softens. Breath deepens without instruction. Muscles release in small, unremarkable ways. The body follows the mind not because it is told to, but because the mind has stopped signaling alertness. At this depth, awareness feels distant, not gone, just farther away, as though you are listening from inside a quiet room while the world continues somewhere outside. This distance is protective. It gives the mind space to repair without interruption, to revisit experiences gently, to soften what was sharp, to strengthen what was fragile. And all of this happens without conscious effort. If you notice the sensation of drifting, that subtle feeling of falling without movement, this is the mind releasing its last attachments to control. It is not a loss of awareness. It is a redistribution of it. Awareness spreads out instead of focusing in. It becomes wide, diffuse, and calm. Words, at this point, may feel less like meaning and more like sound. That is exactly where they are meant to be. They are no longer instructions. They are part of the environment. The mind treats them the way it treats wind through trees or distant rain. Present but not demanding. Noticeable but not important. This is the ideal state for sleep, deep focus, and nighttime learning. The brain remains gently engaged while simultaneously resting. Nothing is forced. Nothing is resisted. And if sleep has not yet arrived, it does not matter. Rest has already begun. The mind does not measure success by how quickly sleep comes. It measures safety, consistency, calm. As long as those remain, the mind will continue its descent at its own pace. There is no need to follow these words. No need to stay awake for them. They are simply here, holding the space steady. The night stretches on. The story continues without urgency. And the mind, unobserved and unpressured, settles deeper and deeper into its natural rhythm. Slowly, quietly, exactly as it was designed to do. Thank you for allowing this time to slow down, to soften, and to unfold naturally. You have reached the quiet end of this journey with DreamSleep Studios, a place designed not to impress, not to persuade, and not to demand attention, but simply to exist alongside you. As the night continues, everything shared here was offered gently, without urgency, without expectation. The facts, the reflections, the soft pacing. None of them asked to be remembered. They were never meant to be held tightly. Instead, they were meant to pass through you. The way calm passes through a room, when the lights are dimmed, and the outside world grows distant. If you are awake right now, notice how different the mind feels. Compared to when you first began listening, thoughts may still appear, but they move more slowly. They feel less important, less demanding. This is not something you achieved. It is something you allowed. The mind, when given permission, always knows how to return to balance. Throughout this experience, your brain has been doing what it does best at night. Quietly organizing, softly releasing, and gently preparing you for deeper rest. Even now, without conscious effort, Your awareness may drift in and out. Moments blend together. Time feels less structured. This is not distraction. This is rest taking shape. If sleep has already arrived, then these words are simply passing sounds. Harmless, unimportant, safe to ignore. And if you remain awake, that is perfectly fine too. There is no deadline here, no correct outcome. Nighttime is not a test. It is a process, a slow unwinding. The mind does not shut down at night. It changes posture. It leans back. It loosens its grip on certainty and control. This is why rest often feels different from effort. Why calm cannot be forced. Why sleep arrives more easily when it is not chased. Everything you need tonight is already present. The room you are in, the surface supporting your body, the steady rhythm of your breath. Nothing else is required. As this documentary gently comes to a close, you are free to let silence take over, or to let the night continue carrying you forward. Without awareness of time, DreamSleep Studios exists for moments exactly like this, when the world grows quieter and the mind no longer needs stimulation, only companionship. There is no abrupt ending here, no sharp goodbye, just a gradual fading, like the last light slipping below the horizon. If your thoughts wander after this, let them. If sleep comes, welcome it without effort. And if you wake later in the night, know that calm is not something you lost. It is something you can return to, whenever you choose. Thank you for listening. Thank you for resting. Thank you for being here. May the remainder of your night be slow, steady, and deeply peaceful. Good night.